Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Vitality Revolution. I am Dr. Shawn Weiss, Doctor of Physical Therapy, founder of Senior Health and Wellness Group. And I am so excited to be part of this revolution this summer through Answers for Elders Network, who I've been a part of this network for about 13 years. And this is our second summer where we are going to be talking about 8 foundational principles of health. And today I have the honor to talk about a topic that I feel kind of transcends many of these principles, where we are combining the mind and the body for older adults. And that is the concept of neuroplasticity, the concept of working your mind in conjunction with your body. And I'm thrilled to have Denise Medved, who is the creator of Ageless Grace and the Ageless Grace Brain Health Program, with us today. We're going to have an amazing conversation on this program that she has created, and it's really being utilized all over the world now, and has many, many trainers, medical professionals, and people alike that are able to do this program. So I'm super excited that you're here, Denise, and welcome to the Vitality Revolution.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
And we're going to talk about some really cool stuff today with this program that you're doing. But I want to start, you have an amazing story. And I would love for you to start by sharing that with us for a few minutes, and then kind of let us know how did that lead your heart into creating your Ageless Grace program?
Well, my story sort of has 3 parts to it. The first part is that I was born with what I would call a mild case of spina bifida, meaning that as a child, I was not in a wheelchair right away. But I was told that I would be in a wheelchair by the time I was 40, that the deterioration of my spine, the gap, etc., would do that. And so because of that, I really realized at a very young age that the more I moved, the more I stretched, the more I rolled around in the floor, the more I played and moved, the better I felt and the less discomfort and pain I had. And that carried on into my adulthood, when the chief of staff at the Hospital for Special Surgery in New York City said, "We can do surgery, but the odds are 50-50 that it's going to improve anything.
Oh my gosh.
And the odds could cause more damage." And he said, "However, I think if you exercise every day." Now, when's the last time a surgeon told you that?
Isn't
if you
that great?
exercise, I know, every day for the rest of your life. And I remember so well, he shook his finger at me. I was 21, and he said, "I mean every day. I don't mean once in a while or twice a week. I mean, you need to exercise and move every day." Well, so I said, "Okay, I can do that. I'm doing it." And so I have. And so I laugh and joke with my friends and my students and say, I'm certified in everything because I kept getting bored, to be honest. Like I'd get certified in something and I'd teach it for a while. And because I also learned that I'm not very self-disciplined. And if I was left to do my exercise every day on my own, that I would come up with an excuse. And so if I was teaching it, then I had to show up. So even though I had a career in marketing and advertising and branding and PR in New York City, I taught before I went to work or after, at the evenings. And so I taught all those years so that I would have to do it myself. And I actually say sometimes to my students, "I'm so glad you joined me because I'm doing this for myself, but I'm glad you're here."
So help me develop my habits.
Exactly. Thank you. So the second thing is that my mom, I always called my mom a brainiac. She studied, she took courses, she read, real books. She read several books a week. She was the only person I know who read the Encyclopedia Britannica from cover to cover back in the day when we had that. She played the piano. She taught school. She did crossword puzzles every day, loved word puzzles and games, and she loved playing card games. She was doing everything that they were saying would keep you cognitively fit and make your brain function to its best. Well, she did not like physical exercise. Never. She didn't like to do anything. She didn't like to jog, run, exercise, do yoga. So she didn't. She loved to read books and study. So when she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, early in the first 2000s, 2001, I was in shock because everywhere, everything you read said if you do all these things, or even a few of these things, you're going to have good brain function. So I said right away, well, then it has to not be true. It has to be
Right.
false. It must be, because my mother would be the prime example of someone who was doing not one or two, but everything that they said to do to preserve your brain and its function. So right away, I started researching, like, what is this? And of course, my initial instinct was, can I find something that we can do with her that would help her now? She did ultimately get to practice the Ageless Grace program with
Oh,
me because she this was many years that she was suffering from Alzheimer's and challenged by it. But it was not soon enough to help her really. But I think it's helped a lot of other people since then, all over the world, in 50
okay.
states and 34 countries where it's being
Oh.
taught. So I started researching. And of course, when I went to the internet, which was the obvious way to start my research,
Hmm.
I looked for brain health, I looked for cognitive function, but guess what? The word neuroplasticity wasn't even on the internet. Now, I mean, the last time I looked, which was months and months and months ago, there were like, I don't know, 10,586,000
Exactly.
reports and studies and research on neuroplasticity. So I started looking at everything I could take. I took courses, I took seminars, webinars. I enrolled in a master's program on gerontology. I graduated from the Neuroscience Academy in Sydney, Australia. I met with Dr. Sarah McKay, who's one of the leading neuroscientists of our time. And I just did everything I could. And as this was happening, as I was learning all I could learn, Harvard Medical School came out with the first study that said games, crossword puzzles do not delay cognitive decline.
Right.
The reason is they only affect one or two functions, not sections or parts, but functions of the brain. And in order to have a healthy brain, you must have all functions working properly, or otherwise you'll have decline. So it's kind of like brushing your teeth, meaning if we all just brushed our front teeth all the time, every day, well,
Yeah.
ultimately we're going to get cavities and problems on these side teeth. Well, same thing if you do crossword puzzles 2 or 3 times a day. Well, then certain parts of your brain functions are getting stronger and better at
Really
doing
good at that,
puzzles.
at doing
Yeah,
puzzles.
they're good at that.
And
But
that's
then what
it.
about all the other things like
Right.
memory and recall and strategic planning and
Right.
all the other parts of the brain that need to be healthy? So right away, I said, okay, I'm going to look at what we can do. And I hadn't read the study yet, but because it hadn't come out yet, that the best exercise for the brain to keep it healthy is physical exercise. That hadn't happened yet. But because of my background and all this physical activities and programs and specialties and things that I did and studied and participated in and taught, I said, it's got to affect the brain the way we move. And
Right.
as I'm developing movement for the brain, there's a study that comes out and it says physical exercise is the best movement for the brain. Then another study came out and said, if you can combine physical exercise with cognitive function and you're thinking about what you're doing and figuring out at the same time, it's even more powerful at giving you brain support and helping you improve your cognitive function, not only maintain it. So I started doing pilot programs at a top 100 hospital and developed the 21 tools of Ageless Grace. And there are 21 for several reasons. There are many, but there are 21 physical skills that ideally we have to maintain lifelong optimal function. We can do what we want, we can participate in life,
Hmm.
and it's things that you would expect: balance, it's flexibility, it's mobility in your joints, it's
Hmm.
spinal flexibility, it's upper body strength, it's power and leverage, coordination, all those types of things that we know that if we
Hmm.
had, our life quality would be better. So the 21 tools actually, each one affects many, many different parts of the body. It has 10 benefits, but we
I'm all
focus.
for more bang for your buck.
Exactly.
More bang
So
for
we
your buck.
focus on
Hmm.
one thing. So when we're doing juicy joints, we gave them
Mhm.
funny names so that everybody can
Yeah,
remember them, and that you reminded that we're supposed to be playing with this.
supposed
We're
to
not
have
supposed to
fun.
be experts, right? We're supposed to have fun, exactly. So juicy joints is for joint mobility. That's what it's for. Now, does it also help you with cardiovascular conditioning? Does it also help you with maybe upper body strength, depending on how
Mhm.
you do it, or with eye-hand coordination? Yeah, it helps with a lot of things. But as you teach it and as you practice it, your mind is focused on joint mobility. What are the things I could do to get my joints to be more mobile and fluid?
Mhm.
And so we do that by using the imagination, using music, using seated movement that immediately causes the brain to engage. So, like if we said, let's pretend you're hitting a baseball and running the bases,
Mhm.
well, your brain says, whoa, I'm in a chair. How do I do that? So the second we ask you to do one of these 21 tools, it engages the brain because it's figuring out, how can I do this from a seated
Yeah.
position? We also teach this program to kids. It's called Forever Fit for Kids. It's exactly the same as what we teach seniors, but they don't want
Yeah.
to do Ageless
Well, and
Grace.
the thing is, right, and but it's fun and they don't even realize the benefits of what they're doing. And so far what you've said, Denise, it rings so true. Having been I have my own agency for the last 20 years. So we deal with a lot of seniors and older adults who are in community settings.
Yes.
And what we're finding, the assisted living dementia rate right now is over 70%. So 7 out of 10 residents have some form of diagnosed cognitive impairment. So our role as an advocate to keep people moving, to keep people maximizing their quality of life, promoting optimal health, is to make sure that we are engaging them as many times during the day as possible. Now, with that being said, having a program like this where
Mhm.
you can jam pack it in, where it is fun. I mean, it's good for the soul, right? It's
Yes.
socialization. It is moving your body. It is allowing you to maximize your activities of daily living, things like getting up and down from the chair, working on your core strength, which, in turn then works on preventing falls, improving balance. And for us, as if from a physical therapist standpoint, that's one of our biggest issues right now is fall prevention in cognitive impairment. So we do a lot of the dual task training that you speak of. We're looking to combine a physical activity with something that is promoting executive function. So when you are doing a mind task and a body task, and when you add the fun piece to it, when you add the
Yes.
variety that you're speaking of, then it's something to look forward to, right? And they don't have to be perfect at it. There's, and I think the concept of you having it in a seated position it's inclusive for everybody, right? It's all
Yes.
inclusive for everybody, which is so important because there's some great programs out there that are not necessarily inclusive for everybody, especially if you have any type of memory issue or cognitive
That's
impairment.
right.
So from what I've seen of our program, people can follow along. It is fun, it's engaging, it makes people smile, it makes people laugh, and you combine all of those things. And how could you not see the benefit of that, correct? So
Absolutely.
with you having the 21 um, tools in this program, now do you consider this, you don't need to be 70 years old to do this program, right? Is it
No,
preventative for say 50 and over and can be
absolutely.
restorative, right?
Absolutely. It's preventative, it's restorative. It helps you maintain cognitive function. Now, it can help you improve your cognitive function regardless of your age. We teach it to children. It's called Forever Fit for
I
Kids.
love that.
It's the same 21 tools, but it's got a more fun name. We teach it, we wish we had more 20 and 30 and 40-year-olds in the program, because talk about prevention. If you knew early on that you could do something to continue to strengthen your brain, cause it to be more plastic, cause it to have greater neuroplasticity, which we haven't even really talked about what that word means, but
Mm-hmm.
we will.
Yeah.
In order to have that, I mean, why not start as soon as you can? Quite frankly, my passion is teaching it to older people. However, my brain says to me, wow, wouldn't it be amazing if every child knew about this? And they said, like, oh, yeah, I can brush my teeth and make them healthy. I can do Ageless Grace or something like it and improve my brain and brain function. I can go to the gym and work out and help my muscles. If they just knew that, it would be amazing. But so mentioned the word neuroplasticity, and we've
Yes.
talked about it a little bit. And most people are aware of the word, but they don't always know what it means. It's literally your ability to change your brain and central nervous system by doing certain things. Its form and function can change regardless of your age. And most of those certain things have to do with physical activity, movement. They've proven that, as I said, that movement is what affects the brain. The primary purpose of the brain, neuroscientists now say, is to control movement of the body. Yes, it can plan a retirement, it can draw a painting, the brain can do so many things,
Right.
but the real reason it's put into the body is to control movement, because everything we do is a movement. We blink our eyes, we scratch our
Yes.
nose, we eat, we walk. I mean, everything we do as a human being has to do with movement, however big or however small. So knowing that you can change that, you can affect it, you can actually create sort of a new brain for yourself is fascinating to me,
It
and
is.
exciting, fascinating and exciting. And then to find out that it's very simple. It's actually simple. My TEDx talk is called Changing Your Brain Can Be as
Okay.
Simple as Child's Play. And so all you have to do is go to YouTube and put in
Oh,
Denise
I
Medved,
love that.
and you can learn about that. It doesn't really talk about Ageless Grace. It talks about the premise and the science, the facts behind Ageless Grace, why we do it. So the number one reason people don't keep up with an exercise program, and you know this, Shawn, that
Hmm.
is boredom. Fascinating,
Right.
interesting.
Right.
Now, yes, there's also the second thing is people say, I don't have enough time. I can't fit it into my day, blah, blah, blah. Well, there's been reams of research that shows if you do some of these simple things that we do with Ageless Grace, that is both cognitively effective and physically effective, that only 10 minutes a day of practicing what you might learn in a class once or twice a week for 30,
Hmm.
45 minutes, only 10 minutes a day can not only help you maintain your cognitive function, can not only stimulate neuroplasticity and help you to change your brain and central nervous system's form and function, but it can cause you to start to improve. The graph goes up, improve your 10 minutes. It's nothing.
10 minutes.
It's how long it takes to like wash your hands or wash your face or brush your
Yes.
teeth. It's like a simple, simple thing. And it's also playful and fun. And it's done to music. Most of you know that there have been also, I don't even know, millions probably of research studies on how music affects the brain. So the
Yes.
way we do it is we do one tool, doesn't matter what the tool is, to
Hmm.
one song, doesn't matter what the song is. So tool song. And when that song ends, you stop and you go on to another song and another tool. When that song ends, you go on to another song and another tool. And there's a lot of reason behind that. It's because it's teaching you to focus and put your attention on something for a certain amount of time and then be able to change your focus and do something differently. It's teaching you to do something quick, and playful, and something slow and elegant and beautiful. It's so
So you
many.
can kind of pick and choose those tools throughout the
Yes,
week, right? To make sure you're hitting
absolutely.
everything, which gives variety, which makes people compliant. They want to do it. They look forward to it because they don't know what's coming next. I mean, all of those things are so, so wonderful for our seniors, who are just looking for something, again, like you said, that's easy to participate in, that they
Yes.
will see the improvement. And even if you do have cognitive impairment, like I've said, I'm a huge advocate that, um, for the longest time, like I said, I've been doing this for over 26 years. A lot of people fell through the cracks in terms of
Yes.
advocating for physical activity, where they would say, well, Shawn, they don't need physical therapy because, they're not going to remember what you told them. That's not appropriate. They can't. And I'm like, hold on a second.
Right.
That's precisely why they need me. They're going to get better whether they know it or like it or not. One,
Right.
I'm preserving their function, I'm improving their safety, right? And all of the things that go along with exercise and brain health when it comes to physical activity. Also improves digestion, also reduces
Yes,
sundowners, also it decreases behavioral issues in more advanced Alzheimer's disease, improves sleep patterns, decreases, like I said, stress, like you name it, it's all going to get there. And like I said, you could take one simple thing that's a part of your program, which is again, just the joy and fun of doing it. That rewires the brain for positivity, which then
absolutely.
reduces stress, which then reduces pain. I mean, it's a wonderful cyclical effect in what can happen when you do those simple things. Like you said, 10 minutes a day. So
So
everybody
easy.
has 10 minutes a day to build a healthy
Absolutely.
habit, right?
And there's that social interaction part of it because it is
Mhm.
primarily done as a class. You can certainly do it one-on-one with the
Yeah.
client,
Hmm.
or a patient or a family member or for yourself, but you can also do it in a class situation. And my students have gotten so, and not just mine, all the trainers and the educators tell stories about how their students have gotten to be good friends, and
I love
and how
it.
they go to dinner together at the CCRC where they live or whatever, because they've made some connections with people. And when you play together, and that's what this really is,
It
it's based
really
on play.
is.
When you
Yes.
play together, there's a bond. It happens when we're children.
Yes.
You go to the playground and you play with a bunch of people and you say, those are my friends. Those are my friends. I like to
Yes.
go. They make me feel good. Well, it's the same thing with Ageless Grace. You play together, you act silly, you do things that seem ridiculous, and then you find out that your balance has improved. You find out that you
Hmm.
are doing, we have a lot of tools that focus on balance. I would actually venture to say that all of them help with fall prevention. One is specifically called body math. It teaches us to respond, react, and recover to and from something unexpected. Guess what? We have
Yes.
balancing act. It's all about the three primary points in the body. Um,
Hmm.
there's so many things that we do that affect both balance and alertness, being able to respond when something
Right.
unusual or unexpected happens. So
Yeah.
it's but it's done in the form of play. It's not
Yes.
like, let's get really serious and talk about whether you're going to fall and break your hip or not. It's more like,
Right.
well, let's just play and do this silly thing. And by the
Yeah.
way, this is going to keep you from falling.
Yes.
It is an evidence-based program, by the way. I know you already know that.
Hmm.
And it's been studied by a lot of different organizations, universities, hospitals, wellness centers. It's fascinating, all across the globe, not just in the United States. And it's being used in hospitals, wellness centers, senior centers, CCRCs. Which, if you
Oh my
don't know
God.
what that is, those are continual care residential communities for your listeners that might or might not know. And that is independent living, skilled nursing care, assisted living, memory care, all of those different parts of facets of life and the life process. So you are absolutely right about uh, there are many layers to this onion, and the more
Yes.
layers that we can use in our daily lives, the better our quality of life will be,
Now,
including cognitive, not only cognitive function, but attitude and
yes.
positivity, and just the way we feel when we wake up, right?
Hmm.
Um, I have a big memory care class, and it started off very
I love
small.
that.
And then they have learned that they love it, that they're happy. They don't even, I'm not sure they even know what they're doing, but they
Right.
like it.
That's
It's music,
okay.
it's fun, it's playful.
Yes.
And then I see, and so do their nurses and their CNAs and their caregivers,
Yes.
see how they have improved in their posture, how they get up out of the
Hmm.
chair by themselves, how they are, yes, they have the walker, but they're standing up straight and tall and walking down the hall with it. It's pretty impressive. And to me,
Yeah.
one of the most important things is to see the emotional involvement, the laughter, the fun, the playfulness. You see that person who may have moderate to advanced cognitive decline,
Hmm.
you see them come back again, and
Yeah.
we sing in the classes, we shout, we make noises. We have something called breathe out loud, where we make all this noise and
I
sing
love
and
it.
hum and whistle for oxygenation. of
Yeah.
the cells.
Yeah.
And so, and of course, that includes the brain.
Yeah.
So there's so many aspects to this. And I always say, there's nothing that I can think of in Ageless Grace that someone hasn't done before, or it's not part of some program, or someone hasn't experienced it. But what makes it different is that we've brought it all into one program so that it's easy. You don't have to think, well, am I doing something new that I've never done before? Am I
Mm-hmm.
doing something I know how to do but differently? Am I doing it on both sides of the body? Am I doing it with my feet as well as my hands? You don't have to think about all that. It's done for you. It's part of the class, and neither does the instructor. Actually, we call them educators because
Yeah.
they're not supposed to know how to do this any better than any of their students or their
No.
clients. They're saying this is the kind of thing we need to do, and now I'm going to mess up just like you do. I just a quick little example of one of the things we do. It's called gentle geometry, and it's specifically for stimulating neuroplasticity by doing something that you don't know how to do.
Yeah.
And we'll do something like different parts of the body are doing 2 or 3 different geometric shapes in space at the same time. So, for example, you might, and those who are watching and listening can
Yeah.
move along. We might make a circle with our hand, and you can't see my full body, but
Yeah.
then I might draw a triangle with my opposite foot. So now with your opposite foot, try to draw a triangle while you're
I used
drawing
to be an
the
athlete, Denise.
circle.
I'm an athlete. This is not easy,
I
but it's
know.
fun.
It's fun. And so the idea is we don't know how to do it. So guess what? Our neurons, brain cells, are firing. And then if you were to add something else and say, okay, now draw a horizontal line with this end. So now I've got a circle with one hand, a horizontal line. My foot's trying to draw a triangle. And after we do this for half of a song, we switch and mirror it on the other side and do the same thing. So it's different every time. We never do any one of the tools the same. And that's because that's what stimulates
Yeah.
neuroplasticity.
And Denise, I think about all the caregivers. I mean, you don't need to be a medical professional to
No,
get certified in this. What if you are a caregiver of a mom or a grandparent and you see your program also eligible to become certified in the program, right?
absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
that's
We have a
great.
lot of people who have taken it because, their husband has Parkinson's and they want to
Yes.
work one on one with him throughout
Mm-hmm.
the next course of his life. Or we have moms who have children with autism, for example, who
Yeah.
work with their children at home. And we certainly have a lot of people who've taken the training to help themselves and do it at home. Now, there are a lot of educators all over the world, but there's not one in every single city in the world. I wish there
Right.
was. That's
Wouldn't
my
that be
wish for
great?
someday. Yeah. Our mission is to change the model of aging in the world. That's our mission. But it's something so easy for you to practice on your own. We do have DVDs, we have flashcards to help remind you of what to do.
Great.
And when I say DVDs, they can either be the hard copy or they can be downloadable on your
Mm-hmm.
laptop or your phone. Um, and we have a playbook, and it's not a workbook; it's a playbook because
I love
that's
it.
what this is. And everybody learns differently. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why we have some flashcards, a book you can read, DVD you can follow along with. We have all different ways of learning how to do this, as well as actual classes on our website that you can take. And I just want to mention this since I'm saying this right now. If you go to our website, agelessgrace.com,
Thank you.
one of the things it will ask you is it will say, if you give us your email address, and that means you're not going to get tons of promotion from us, but you will
Mm-hmm.
get newsletters every once in a while that tells you about new breakthroughs in brain health or fun
Mm-hmm.
things you can do to affect your brain or foods you can eat to affect your brain.
Love that.
But what happens when you give us that email address is you get a free class on your computer or your phone,
Yay.
downloadable, so you can actually do Ageless Grace and for free. And it's a 45-minute class with me, and I'm teaching you the not all, but many of the tools of Ageless Grace, so that you can practice on your own. And that's the ideal. And yes, it's
And there's no
wonderful to be
excuse
in
to
class with
not
you. Right.
learn that,
It's too
right?
easy. Too
I mean,
easy.
everybody that's listening should go there and check out what this is about. What else can we find on your website, Denise, on agelessgrace.com? And you mentioned something about a retreat, and I want to make sure you're able to talk
Yes.
about that.
Thank you. First, what else you can find is that there are a number of downloads that you can do. We have a blog that I think is just brilliant. We have doctors, nurses, neuroscientists, health practitioners, trainers, you name it, who've written articles about things that relate to brain health. There are special articles and blogs on Parkinson's, on Alzheimer's, on Lewy body. I mean, you name it. We have so many wonderful lay language, because that's the whole point of the whole website, is to be easy to use, easy to understand. These are not medical research papers. Some of the people who have written blogs are people who have done research, but we said, don't make that complicated. Make it so that your
Right.
12-year-old child can read it and say, oh, I get that. I understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And then there are also little video clips all throughout the website. And just all kinds of information about what are the 5 primary functions of the brain: strategic planning, memory and recall, analytical thinking, creativity and imagination, kinesthetic learning, and the acronym for that is SMACK, which is the sound of a neuron firing, a pop, a
I
crack.
love it.
Yeah. And so all that, there's little video clips that tells you about that, that tells you about why we're in a chair. I mean, it's all kinds of good, great stuff on there. And there's a thing that says training, and you drop down from that and you get the schedule, and you can find out how you can get trained either in person or online. We have most of our courses are online on Zoom, and you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is the trainer sends you a link and you click on it. So it's not like you have to be an expert at computer
Nothing to be
technology.
nervous about.
No, nothing at all. And then every year we have an annual retreat, and it's called this year it's the 13th annual Ageless Grace retreat. Now, you don't have to know anything about Ageless Grace. You don't have to have ever done it before, because the retreat focuses on how can we live our best life possible. And so we have 9 presenters that are amazing that do 25-minute presentations. It's this Sunday, July 21st,
Okay.
and from 12 noon Eastern time until 5 p.m., those 9 presenters present. And we have what we call commercial breaks in between that are all kinds of funny things, and time for you to go get a drink or whatever, eat a
Yes.
snack. And we have an hour beforehand from 11 to 12 Eastern time when you can network, interact, talk to people, ask questions, go into breakout rooms, all kinds of fun things. And an hour at the end from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time, where you can also interact or ask questions from some of the presenters who would still be on there. And it's $80 for the whole day, for the whole experience.
That's
You're
great.
going to get everything you can imagine, very affordable, and it's also recorded. So if you can't make the entire thing, maybe you have a family reunion that day, you can register and you will get the recordings, and you can watch it, 1 presentation a day for the next 9 days or whatever you'd like to do. And even the networking part will be recorded, so you get to see how people are interacting and what they're saying
So
and what questions
valuable.
they ask. It
That is so
is.
valuable.
And so obviously, if you can come part of the time, because we can't accommodate every time zone, unfortunately,
Mhm.
but if you can come part of the time, then you can watch the recording, the rest of it, the part that you can't miss. We have some educators in Australia. That's one of the most difficult ones to include, like Asia and
Yes.
Australia. It's 14, 16 hours ahead.
Yeah.
But they can come. There's some of them are getting up at 6 in the morning so they can come and do at least
I love it.
the first few hours of it,
Hmm.
which will be kind of fun. So
This
I
is
invite you
great.
all to come. Anybody can come. No one's put on the spot. You don't have to say a word. You don't even have to show yourself if you don't want to on the screen. You can just show a still photo. It's totally up to you how you want to participate. You could be walking around in your pajamas and listening to what's going on. So I invite you all to come and join us. It's
Well, I'm
really
definitely going to share this on
good.
my home health agency's website, my seniorhealthandwellness.org website, so that they can get that information. And if you can't do the retreat, like I said, I think it's be wonderful to take your free class, do it with yourself, do it with a loved one, get as many people involved as possible, and keep spreading this program that's now going worldwide. I think it's fantastic what you've done, Denise. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being a part of the Vitality Revolution. And I think we have lots more that we can talk about. So I know that I'm going to be calling on you to have some more chats, and
I would
especially
love
when I
to.
get certified, right? Because that's going to be the next
Yes.
thing. So I think it's
Yes.
great. Thank you so much for being on today. I so appreciate it. We will also, everybody, have that link to Denise's website. When you get that on the Answers for Elders Network, when that is all posted, you will have Denise's link. So it'll be super easy for you. But again, agelessgrace.com is where you can find her. And gosh, run, don't walk to get that right now. Denise, thank you. Look forward to seeing you again soon.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, dear.
Answers for Elders thanks you for watching the Vitality Revolution. Discover a blueprint to find a whole new gear in life, new awareness, and greater potential. Subscribe and be a part of our community. Answers for Elders is the North Star of navigating senior care, featuring content to help later life go a lot easier.